welcome back to part 2 of this podcast with Cole. And we were talking about family stuff earlier, about trying to lead out at home and being intentional about not just spending more time with your kids or whatever, but the intentionality of carving out time for yourself, for things like one-on-one time with your spouse, but also, you know, some space for you to just get your head and also acknowledging this is really, really, really hard. Yeah. Right. So the world's really, really different right now. And a lot of us, at best are working from home. Mm-hmm. All right. At worst, we lost our job. Yeah. Right. At least temporarily. Yep. Right. So I kind of want to turn this and go, let's just talk about leadership just a little bit at different levels, you know? I'm leading an organization, has about just under 200 employees. None of them are coming into the office. Yeah. I will say this, I'm going to do a quick plug here, is that anytime that we get together to do stuff like this, we are supporting local businesses by having food catered in, because it's really, really important to do that. Here in Lafayette, where a lot of our recording is, we've been using Community, which is just a little restaurant down, just like less than a mile from here. And we've been bringing in lunch from them. And I just want to do a shout out for the great job they've been doing down at Community. They're getting ready to open up a second restaurant right now, all with takeout. So they're not sponsoring us or anything. I just want to say, again, support local businesses. Yeah. And that's what we're trying to do here. And so shout out to Community. Food's good. I don't know if they have takeout drinks. They do weird stuff with like a normal like drink. They put their own spin on it. Yeah. And I'm a traditionalist. Yeah. But if you like stuff like that, maybe you're in. There's a place right by us in Parker that does take home margaritas, like big sealed jugs of margaritas. How do you not do this when COVID's over? Oh, you got to keep going with it. You have, yeah. It's just going to be like they've proven that we can do it. Yes. So now it's just time to keep it rolling. See, it's a good time to be alive. Yeah, what a time to be alive. Speaking of that, so leadership. So shout out to Community there. But so I was meeting with my lead team today, and we were doing all the check-in stuff and like, how are you doing? And I said, I'm doing well. I mean, I'm not falling apart, right. And I'm not, but I'm trying to get some routine back in my life. Yeah. I'm going to try to start working out regular. I'm going to try to, get some routine of normalcy back in my life, because I thrive on that, and I think you do too. Yeah. So let's just talk about that. I went to them and I said, so how are you leading? Because I got several questions going, hey, how do I keep my own head as a leader? But then also, how do I lead remotely? Yeah. And so you're leading teams, I'm leading teams. And I guess I want to hit this from two stands for you. All right, Cole. What do you need from leaders above you as a person going, I'm working remotely, I need to hear this from leaders. And then what about the teams and again, I think that the kind of the widget here, right now we're talking about church staffs and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter, like whatever the industry out there, there's some parallel of I work for somebody and people work for me. Mm-hmm. So let me talk to you as a team member. What's helpful to you? Yeah. Or what do you need from leaders above you in this time? Yeah. And then you also lead a staff. Yeah. And then hundreds of volunteers under that. Yeah. What are you finding that they need from you? Which question you want me to take? The first one. The first one? Yeah. What do I need from up? What do you need from leadership? So I think what I need from leadership is the same thing that people below me need. And it's to feel heard, feel like they're being listened to and paid attention to, and that like their work and their effort is being noticed. Okay. And so I need that as well. Like when I look up at Paul, who's my boss, or you, and we're doing something, whether it's our Aurora Bible study that's online, or we're doing it a bunch of stuff through social media, or we're trying to take care of groups and trying to equip groups and trying to equip people to like go out and take care of Aurora or wherever that is. I need to know that like what I'm fighting for, they're going to fight for too. Cause it's like, there's a lot of stuff above me that needs to be fought for before I can do anything down low. So to know that the people above me are listening to me and fighting for me and like checking in, wanting to know things from me, right? Of like, hey, what are you doing? What can we be like looking for, praying for, fighting for? Paul does that really well, where he's like, he knows what's going on in everybody's world that he's in charge of. Right. So that he can advocate for. Not just business, but also personal. Everything. He's got 900 people in his life that he knows everything going on in their life. Yeah. But the reason that we are leaders is because we go and advocate for the people that we're leading. And I need to know that my leaders are advocating for me, so that way I can advocate for them. So there's a ripple effect of like down to the person who can't lead because of whatever's going on in their life, they're being taken. That's what we as leaders are doing, is taking care of those people. We need to advocate for them, but people above us need to be advocating for us. Right. So to be heard and to be known and to be like focused on in a time where it's like we're in isolation.
So it's even easier to be missed and even easier to not be noticed and to fall through the cracks and to do all that because there's other bigger, huge things going on
Right.
that we need to focus on. So how do I then how am I being led by being known and being focused on? I think that's what I need right now. It's just like,
it's interesting you say that because I guess I'm the top leader, but
Yep.
all the things that we've kind of say, hey, let's do this, or here's an idea. I didn't come up with them. They came up to me, and I don't mean that condescending up
Right.
to me. I'm just, if you look at a pecking order or
Yeah.
whatever, is like I'm trying to listen to you. You have some really bad ideas.
I have a
Cole.
ton of bad
just so
ideas.
many. But if we can just filter through those, is that then you go, hey, what about this? And it's like I would never be exposed to that if I hadn't listened to you. So let me speak to leaders: is talk to those people that you lead, and don't just tell them what they need to do, but listen to what's coming back, because you guys are out there you're on the front line, right? And so I think that's really, really, really important. So I have leaders above me, my elders, and even when we over the last several months, when the directives came at me without a conversation, I didn't do well.
Yeah.
And so finally I had to look back at my leaders and go, hey, time out. Can we have a conversation? And I know it's not a democracy. You win. You're my boss, all right? Could we have a conversation? Because if I feel listened to and heard, that's really, really important.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying.
That's what I'm saying. So then back to you then. So looking at you like before sabbatical versus now and the way that you're approaching how you're leading, both leading up to your...
Is this going to be mean?
No.
Okay.
What? No. But looking at like before sabbatical to you now, the way that you either lead up to your elders or the way that you're taking leadership from people below you, what in your head has had to change? So it's like you've had people that are like, hey, I'm leading all these teams. I'm isolating. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
How are you then being like, I don't need to know what to do. I'm taking it. Like I'm being led from down.
I think
below.
you're on it right there. I think that there's some broken part in us as leaders that think that leadership means we have to have all the answers. Like we are so smart or so, that's why we're here, is that everybody's dependent upon us to have the magic answer, the magic fix right now. And I mean, I like this word is, at first it was nails on a chalkboard to me, and that was the word collaborative.
Yeah.
Because again, I grew up maybe in an era, and I think I speak for a lot of leaders, where everybody looked at us and said, tell us what to do. And now if I were to say, let me tell you what to do, it's not going to be met.
Yeah.
And I'll look at that as you don't appreciate everything I've been
value,
through.
respect you,
And
yeah.
you look at me in the same way going, you're not listening to me. And so I think the biggest change is there have to be more collaborative conversations. Bottom end of the day, it lands on my desk.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the one that has to stand in front of the elders, God, or the people that I oversee and go, this is on me.
Yep.
Okay. But I found there's actually safety in going, okay, let me listen. And I've sat at this table with my lead team, and I'm sitting there going, the vote is 4-1.
Yep.
And
you're the one.
And I'm the one that's saying, I don't know if I want to do this. And I had to make a choice. And I have the power to go, we're going to do it anyway. And I don't want to say that never will happen, but it needs to be so rare, because I think leadership is, I've listened to everything and now I've made the call. But even if it's not the call that's perfect, everybody that was involved in it goes, hey, listen. And I think that's what you're saying is, I mean, if lead team made a bunch of decisions and you're sitting there in Aurora going, you don't even know what it's like out here, then you don't feel valued.
Right. Absolutely.
And so I think that's the biggest difference between pre-sabbatical and post-sabbatical. And even the feedback I've gotten from the leadership level under me is, thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
So how then, so like in a time like right now where it's like calls need to be made instantly and you're doing it from your own separate house.
Right.
So like look at when we made the call to like, we're going to shut down our live in-house teachings, people coming to our buildings before we get told to do it.
Yeah, we actually did that the day before the governor said we couldn't.
Right. Because we were like, we don't want to be told to do it. There was,
Well, there's also that. It just seemed like a wise decision
Yeah.
that we could point to and go, we were trying to protect our people beforehand.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
How did you go about like making a call like that, making a call in like a quick pace, but taking it from like, because I was on the email chain where it's like, there's a bunch of people on this email chain chiming in. How did you say like, okay, what that person said is valuable? Like walk me through that thought process.
Yeah, so those are great questions, because I'm sitting with my team. I think we were remote because part of my team was in Atlanta at a conference, all right? And so it was just like 3 of them were out of town. One was on a retreat, 2 were on a conference in Atlanta, and it was just Karen and I that were here, and we're hearing all this information coming in, and a couple of the teams were like, this is hysteria. This is just overreaction. This is, all this. And then I have other people going, hey, I'm really concerned about my family, or are you guys paying attention to this? And so I had to make the call, right? And so I'm listening to all these people, and I'm listening to what's coming up from campus pastors, and people are shooting me all these, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And so I finally, as I'm talking to two of the guys in Atlanta, I remember saying, hey, so what's the perception gonna be? And if we're going to err on one side or the other, I want our people to say they erred on taking care of us and protecting us, as of looking back going,
Yep.
man, I wish we could get that weekend back, because it spread like wildfire. And so I actually got an email. I could look it up, text message string from my guys in Atlanta, and they flipped on me. They're going, hey, after this conversation, this collaborative conversation, we need to flip. We need to shut it down. And I'm like, did you just do a 180 on me?
Like
and
quickly too.
Yeah. And they're like, yep. And it's like, I felt really valued. They felt really valued because they had a whole say in it. And then when we got the word out to that next layer, which is you, it was like, yep, we got this. And it's so disappointing.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that the hard leadership calls are, not everybody's going to go, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be fun. It sucks. Right.
Yeah.
But it's the right thing to do. I can't imagine the pressure on some of our government leaders is that we're dealing with, a few thousand people.
Yep.
They're dealing with millions, possibly billions, and then trillions of dollars.
Yep.
And it's like, hey, that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And so I guess the leadership call is you gather as much information as you can, you listen to the right voices, and then you make the call. And it'll probably be an imperfect call, and not everybody will agree with it, but you'll be able to point to it going, I didn't do that in isolation. I didn't do that on a whim. I didn't do that in ignorance. I didn't have all the facts.
Yep.
I had as many as I could, and then I made the call.
Yep.
And so I think that's what we did. I think another thing when just kind of came to mind as I was kind of rambling there is like I have a reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with Governor Polis. All right. And politically and just a lot of things, I don't think we're maybe all on the same page 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. I think it's safe to say that.
Yeah.
But in the book of Romans, he's my leader.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to support my leader. Same, and you go on so above my government. And then I go all the way up to President Trump and Vice President Pence, and then all those people that we see on the briefings every day. And then people on both sides of the aisle are trying to make those decisions. And I mean, politics isn't going to, solve anything. But the truth is they are going to make a lot of decisions that affect our life.
Yeah.
And we have to be praying for our leaders.
Yep.
We do. That doesn't mean we agree with them. It doesn't mean that we are going to vote for them next time or anything like that. But they are.
They're there to protect us.
They
right?
are.
Yeah.
And some of them do a good job, some don't. But they're not going to do a better job if we don't pray.
Right.
I can promise you that.
Right.
I think this is a great time for leaders to go first. All right. So, News Channel did a piece on faith leaders, and they had me, and then they had Rabbi Black from the largest synagogue here in Denver, and then they had an imam from a local mosque, and we were just talking about the different ways this is affecting us. And so after that, I sent an email down to the synagogue, and because he said I don't know how to do a TV station, and so I was like, all right, leaders go first. And so I sent him an email just saying, hey, if we can help you, because we have a lot of technology here, if we can help you get your message out to contact your people. I haven't heard back yet, but the point was just saying leaders go first. And there's some stuff you go, we don't agree on that, but there's enough we do agree on that. How can I help you?
Yeah. That's
I think
great.
That's a great leadership principle.
That's great. So taking the idea, going back to that email of the guy who's like, hey, I'm leading these teams. I don't know how to lead in isolation. I don't know how to lead at home. I don't know what that looks like. You hit on two things there. First off, leaders go first. And second off, you were gathering a bunch of information quickly.
Yeah.
So how can a guy like that, a woman who owns a business, a dad at home, a mom at home that's leading their home, how do they gather a bunch of information quickly and make the best call and go first as that leader? Like, what does that take?
Well, you said you can't lead in isolation. All right. So I went through my lead team, and one of my Jesse. He oversees a lot of the production and a lot of the stuff that you see on the weekends. All right. And so as they're like getting frustrated with everything, he just keeps calling back and going, hey, do you understand the opportunity that we have here?
Yeah.
And calling people back to mission, right? And how important it was. And even in today, if this COVID virus would have hit 10 years ago, church would have shut down. A lot of businesses would have shut down. A lot of restaurants, there was no, websites that you could do your to-go order and then have them bring out to curbside. They're just done. And so we're living in a time that's really, really hard, but it's a time of opportunity. And so one of the things Jesse's contacting his team members every day or almost every day, and just calling them back going, hey, this is important. You're doing a good job. We have an opportunity here.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times we focus on what we can't do, and then we can also go, but usually it's time like these that the best things get invented.
For sure.
So I think if you lead teams, and then Karen came back and she just keeps on reaching out to her people going, how can I help you? What do you need from me? And so in those conversations, checking in, not just about how's your work doing, are you getting it done? Are you making the deadlines of project? Have you made this many calls or emails? Is going, now I want to talk about how you are doing, right? And so I think when you're leading remotely, the best way to gather information is not with a checklist of how this. It is a conversation where things bubble to the top going, whoa, you just landed on something there. And now it's got me thinking about something else. Mm-hmm. Do you think that maybe that's more widespread than what we're talking about? And that leads to an idea, and that's gathering information.
Yep.
So I think that touching base with your team members, level by level on an ongoing basis communicates a couple of things. One is I'm interested in how you're doing. Mm-hmm. I'm interested in what you have to say, all right? And I'm having a conversation. And then the flip side of that is, man, my leaders actually care about me. They're not just like, running off to their cabin or something like that. And honestly, there's times when I would go, I just like doing my cabin. It is corona free, right? Yeah. But it's like, that's not the best use right now.
Right.
And so leaders go first by, I think, constantly reaching out over and over and over to their people. One, just to get information, but two, just to communicate that they care.
Yeah.
Because that will be remembered.
Yeah.
And then people that are communicating up, tell them what's going on in your life. Tell them what's going on in your heart, because it matters and it will lead to a good idea.
That's great. How are you doing that at home with Robin right now? Because when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, damn it, I'm not doing that with Taylor.
Yeah.
Where it's like we're either fighting or I'm like, oh, Booker's teeth are coming in. I know at the Booker's core level what he's needing right now.
Yeah.
Or like at Taylor's level, I know like, oh, she needs space. But I'm not going first and leading or being vulnerable right now as I think about it.
Yeah. So imperfectly.
Yeah.
All right. I think is that as we go through the day, and it's pretty monotonous sometimes, right? Is to like I've never worked out with Robin.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we were on swim team in college,
Yeah.
and she asked me to help her with like her starts,
Yeah.
and I gave her 3 pointers, and she went off on me. I'm like, nope,
Never again.
never again.
Yep.
All right. So very carefully, like we're walking together,
Mm-hmm.
and then she can't go see her trainer at the gym, and so she asked me to help her, and I did it one time, and it went well.
That's great.
So far.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing, Cole, is to look at the people that we're living with, it'd be our spouse or our kids or our parents, whatever, and go, hey, how can I help?
Yeah,
what do you need from me right now? I had a friend that had this tattooed right here. What do you need from me now, babe? Just the letters, because it's not an argument. It's not a fight.
Yeah.
Like when she's bringing stuff at you, it's probably because, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Yeah.
And he's just looking, what do you need from me now, babe? Right. It's like, no. And so I just do that a lot with Robin, going,
That's good.
How can I help? What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And, why don't you this is a constant thing too. And I hope it's not selfish because I want it back in my direction.
Yeah.
But to say, hey, Rob, why don't you go take a nap right now? I've got the dogs. We have a new puppy.
Yeah.
Right. And so, or I've got the kids. Right. And then, hopefully then maybe I can grab an hour later.
Yeah.
And just valuing each other's time and things like that. So I think it's what you're communicating in leadership, whether you lead a company or whether you lead a home, is, hey, I'm listening to what you have to say. I know that it's my responsibility to make sure it all gets done, but it matters to me because you matter to me. And whether that's an employee that's laid off, right, because there's no work, check on them. That doesn't mean they're asking you to fix their problems or make their mortgage, because you don't have the ability to do that, but that you care and they're not just some cog in the machine that you can't pay anymore. But when you get more money, then the cog can come back. I think realizing that, hey, how are you doing? And is there anything I can do to help? And probably it's not money right now because everything's tight there, but just that emotional and that support. I think that's a great leadership principle, is just to check in. How are you doing? Because I care. And then out of that, I think you'll get some great feedback that will make you a better leader.